maybe you can give us the secret. You say they say keep your friends close, but your enemies a little bit closer. A lot of companies are striving hard to have that gender parity, for them to have equity for women and men at the entry level. When we talk about the pipeline, at some point in the pipeline, the women drop off. Where are we going wrong? Because it gets to the top and it is men. Where are we going wrong and how can we fix it?
Thank you, Q. And I need to confess that even us at Standard Bank, it keeps thinning as you go up. And it is everywhere. It's globally the same story that comes in. I might have better statistics than what the UN found about number of women and what I would call employment. But the reality is that when we start working, we're about 25, 23, 25, what I would call the first 5 years of anybody. Let me take Standard Bank as an example. From an officer to manager level, the guy or the gentleman is out there trying to look for money. But nature is actually telling the lady, you need to start a family. Whereas it's a family for 2 people, the bias has been that let me focus on my family. For many women, and it's not only women, it's an animal thing that women by nature love looking after their families and taking care of them. Now, that one doesn't worry me most. The one that worries me most is the next level, what you'd call junior manager, from branch manager level to, say, exco level. It gets extremely thin. And when you look at the attributes or the things that pull out people at that time, it's not necessarily family, but it is fear of failure. It is fear of responsibility. It is having it in your head that I cannot do it as well as the gentleman will do it. Because like in the bank, it is really a fast-paced period that time. Because you're trying to meet targets, you're driving all of this, you're moving up and down, and some ladies by nature decide to pull back and say, I don't think this is for me. But what they don't realize that it is affecting the upper side. Then when you go to the executive level and board level, amazingly, the figures are very, very thin. Anywhere you'll find. We're doing about 25, 30%, but still, is that what we want? No, that's not the goal. But what is the problem here? I'll look at it from my side. How many times do you get into a board interview and more than half of the people are females? How many of us actually know that human nature, that if you walk in an interview, if you're male and I'm male, you have an advantage already? Or we studied in the same school, or I've seen your name somewhere. So things like sponsorship and all of these, visibility, come into play at that moment. Today, what we are seeing is that less women fear that level. They fear it. I was talking to a friend of mine that, for example, if you see an advert in the paper or an announcement, Standard Chartered has hired Sylvia as their MD.